Well, hello there, everyone. A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening to traders around the world. Welcome to your Trading with Z morning. You've got a pre-market briefing followed by live fire on the battleground, and then we'll do a aftermath review, adjustments, lessons learned, questions answered. Looks like folks are good to go. Let's make sure that everyone is good to go. Is the AV all good on your end? Give me a lucky number 7 if you're hearing everything clearly, if you're seeing everything clearly, and then we're going to take flight. All right, looks like we're good to go. Well, welcome to everyone. Welcome to traders around the world. A good morning, good afternoon, good evening to each and every one of you, wherever you may be listening in from. And we know that folks from all around the world are here with us each day. So thank you for taking the time out of your day to be with us. Let's get right into it and make the day count. It is certainly Google Tesla earnings day. We do have a lot of positioning that'll probably happen into the event. And my overall view is that the event will be positive, but be very positive briefly. So take the market up to key water lines, take the S&P E-minis above water lines, and then have a parabola shape take place in the market, and back down we can go. So that's the way that I see it. And let's just go see. Well, thanks, George. You got to put a smile on my face first thing, right? Okay, so let's go, folks. Everything that I do and say here is for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. I'm not a registered financial advisor or representative. You must consult yours before making any trading decisions. Trading involves risk, not just reward. Risk of loss. Trade with money you can wholly afford to lose. When I trade, it's always in line with my risk trading plan, which is unique to me and might not be suitable to you. Consult your registered financial advisor and get a risk trading plan. Whether I'm discussing past trades taken, doing live trades in front of you, coming up with plans and projections for future potential trades, whether I'm doing so with respect to a live cash account, a demo account, or a prop trading account, I'm doing it all for education and insight purposes only. It's not meant as advice. And finally, if I poll you in the chat and I give you an average response back to the poll, the sentiment there is not necessarily indicative of the sentiment of the entire group, just those responding. I don't audit the chat, so do take that stuff as anecdotal. All right, folks, I think we're ready to go. So let's go. This morning, if you can save your dry powder for this afternoon into the end of the day, and of course, if you're experienced enough to trade the after hours, that's the time. There's probably going to be at least one, if not two moves this market morning. But again, the two things that I want you to hear from me is if you can save your dry powder for this afternoon, it's probably going to be a better fertile ground for directional trades that can run and rip. And at least two moves will likely occur this market morning, but it's going to be probably wider range moves into the end of the day today. So if you've got that message, if that makes sense, let me know in the chat. Just give me a lucky number 7 in the chat and share that with me. I want to make sure that everyone heard that message, acknowledged it, because as we start the trading day today, we want to start off understanding where is our time best spent. So learn and earn is the goal at the end of the day. But we have to also be choiceful. So if one is trading this market morning, perhaps do it with smaller size and perhaps have the bigger size or more frequency planned for this afternoon. Okay, so let's get right into where the markets are at this stage. So we've got the NASDAQ down currently about 0.75%. Is that strange? Not really. We had a big up day yesterday, 1.8% up yesterday. The move that we're having back down has not broken anything. We're just back testing the mattress. What's the mattress? The mattress is the center two lines of our weekly pivot strategies. We have a DeMark and Fibbo weekly pivot strategy. The purple line is the Fibbo balance weekly pivot level. The blue line is the DeMark balance weekly pivot level. The two together make up what I call the mattress. The money is still on top of the mattress, above the mattress. It has not gone under. Okay, so when the money comes out from under the mattress like it did yesterday, you're putting it to work, risk on, it's likely going to grow. When the money goes back down under the mattress, risk off, and things start to move down. So as you look at the performance on the day, down about 0.7%. Is it dramatically different for the S&P E-minis? Are the S&P E-minis in a much different shape or relative performance? Well, the E-minis S&P E-minis are only down 0.25%. So again, this is a NASDAQ-driven day. This is a NASDAQ-driven market. This is a Mag 7 stock-driven market. And what do we see for the S&P E-minis? The S&P E-minis actually breached a little deeper below the bottom of the mattress, but currently are sitting in the mattress. So we're not dealing with anything right now that is traumatic. What we had forecasted out, which I had shared with you well in advance, I shared with members of the private active trader room well in advance, shared it with you here yesterday, I think, was this chart right here, where I have already planned out for the week where we are likely to go. So Sunday night, Monday morning, dip down, push up into the 75.55 area. And I do this off the primary market, the S&P E-minis, then a pullback, and then another attempt to come up and punch through that ceiling of resistance where we've got a set of nested volume point of controls. So that's the part of the move we're in now. The pullback was deeper than I had forecasted, but we did come right back up and of course, tried to punch through it again. Where are we right now? Well, we're not through it. The objective was get through it using the backbone of the earnings plays and the typical ramp up into the release of earnings from Mag 7 stocks that we've been seeing for many quarters on end. So at this stage, if I want to trade a market that can retrace back up inside the day, inside the morning, and has the slingshot pull back a little further, it would be the NASDAQ. If I want to trade a market that is likely to melt higher, it would be the S&P E-minis. So I'll probably have more range and room, but I want to ideally see both of them move in the same direction or aligned direction. What else do we really know at this moment before we get into the deeper technicals on a multi-time frame basis? Let's go take a look at the things that tug at the market, like the dollar and the euro. Which way is the euro going? The euro is actually going up, which means the dollar is going down, which is organically a tailwind for the market. So when I look at the size of the move, it's not statistically significant. It would have to be about 1/3% to be in that statistically significant range. But what we've got is at least the hint of a tailwind for the equity indices. You've got the euro up, the dollar down. Are we dealing with anything here that can corroborate it? Are precious metals continuing on higher, taking on the idea of a weaker dollar for stronger values of precious metals? Well, let's go take a look at silver. And the answer is yes, right? The insight that I'd provided you yesterday was that silver is probably going to carry on higher towards the top of the channel. Okay, and here we are carrying on higher towards the top of the channel. This is not the area where I'd want to buy more. This is the area where I'd want to tighten up my stops and make sure that I collect profit if I'd taken a swing at it. Same on gold. Okay, same on gold. Get through the earnings after the bell. If there's a breakout to higher highs on gold, it may be headed up towards 42, 36, 37. So that may be an opportunity. I'll just seed that for you right now. And on silver's side, it would be top of the weekly pivot range, $62 and change. I don't think that these are going to be the primary candidates to trade. The reason I brought them up is they're corroborating a weaker dollar, stronger euro, which is a tailwind for the equity markets. What about the geopolitical mess? Is that getting worse at this moment in time? Let's go take a look at oil and get a sense of that. So here we are. Yep, there we are. Nope. Let's go to CL1 right over here. Bear with me for a moment. There it is. So what you see with CL1 right now is nothing too dramatic. CL1 is a continuous contract of oil. It's up 0.5%. So we're not dealing with something right now that's getting out of hand geopolitically. So if you want to see how the table is set, center of plate are the things really that tug at the market, and of course, which market's really the bigger mover. So the Nasdaq's down right now, but that down is not dramatic. It's not come down below the mattress. right? It's not come down below the center of the weekly pivot range. So might as well have that on screen while I'm talking. As you can see, I like talking with my hands sometimes. You've got the Nasdaq coming down into the mattress, but holding up above the top lip. So center of plate, it's still a tasty meal for a push higher. Why higher? Well, we've got, of course, the things that are linked to the market and tug at the market, saying that they're leaning more to a tailwind for the market rather than the headwind. They're more likely going to push the market up. And of course, we don't have a very big negative right now of any sort from oil, towards the market. So geopolitics are not really driving the bus. It's positioning into earnings. It's perhaps a little overboughtedness from yesterday's market move. Let's get right now into the more granular technicals here and see if we can make a go of this. Bear with me for a second while I get the right charts up here for you. There we go. And here we are. I just need to do a refresh on one of my templates over here because I can already see that it's going to be a problem if I don't. So might as well get that done right before cash hours start. So in a few seconds, the market's going to start trading. Cash hours is going to start. We're in a buy signal state on a 1-minute chart and on a 5-minute chart and tentatively on an hourly chart. As my first trade out of the gates, I am going to take on a long right here, right now. I'm going to do it with a micro, nothing big. And I'm going to look for it to sustain above 29,000 and about 95 points to 85 points, somewhere in that area. We know the top lip of the mattress is 29,081 points or so. So I've decided to take a little stab into the market, take on a long. Let's go and take a look at the 5-minute chart right now. Is it in a buy signal state? Does it support the idea of the trade that I've just taken? Well, yes, it does. It is a tentative buy signal state because it just started, right? We've got that green triangle underneath the bar, which is from the triple S indicator, which is giving us a bullish cross at a very, very strange location. For triple S students, you know that this is at the top and above the top of the channel. So very expensive, but it's still a bullish cross, and we still have momentum behind us at this moment in time. There's not a lot of data that can get in the way, but again, it's a risky time of the day to trade. That's why I'm using a smaller size. Does the hourly chart corroborate the trade that I've just taken? So I want to know, is there alignment across the board? And the answer to that question is partially, not wholly. We don't have the champion trend pack toolkit on our side over here. We've got the triple S telling us yes, tentatively, but we're still eating into the lower half of the MSR channel. So I'm not too surprised that it's not working out great right now, but I'm still going to hold the trade because I think that we're riding the speed lines. If we start breaking the speed lines over here and we start coming down below 29,080 points, that's where I start to get a little bit more concerned about the position overall. Right now, if I take a look at the NASDAQ and the weekly pivot lines, you'll see very quickly over here that we came down, sat down on the mattress, and then tried to bounce right back up. Now, this trade is a little more volatile than I'd like, but it did push up on the last bar. We're looking at a 1-minute chart right now. The position's been enforced for a couple of minutes at this stage. I'm not building it right now. It's just a little tester trade out there. So we had a push up on the first bar where I took the position a little later than I wanted to, but I got in. And then on the second bar, we had a dip down, and I was not sitting here concerned that the whole thing's going to break down and unravel because I was dealing with positive momentum. I'm dealing with a tailwind to the market more so than a headwind. And I've got an overall outlook or pattern on them at a market level that says, hey, this market is more likely going to run up into earnings, but it's probably going to be more about this afternoon than it is about this morning. And of course, we did very quickly identify using our charts, using wealth charts, coming up to identify very quickly where we're located against the mattress, right? The top lip of the mattress, 29,000 and about 81 points. And of course, the goal here is to get the NASDAQ up into the ceiling of nested volume point of control lines, which is where I think we're headed. And that's going to take the ES well above the 75.55 line. It's at 75.35 right now. So the trade, as you can tell, is in the money. Is anyone else in this trade? Let me know. Is it working for you? Let me know. I'm taking some profit right now, by the way. I'm going to take it while I've got it. Now, I can resume my activity in this trade, but I've got a couple of warning signals. Warning number one, subchart indication, very far away from normal. That red line is the triple S line. Think of that as the soldiers, okay? The dashed white line, that's the fast momentum line. Think about that as the generals. Think about the blue line as the king and the queen, or the slow momentum line. Soldiers got sent on and think about the channel as geography. The upper half of the channel is enemy territory. The bottom half of the channel is homeland. When the soldiers come up through the generals and the king and the queen, ideally in the very bottom quadrant, quadrant one, ideally in the very bottom quadrant, okay? But anywhere in the lower half, if that happens in the lower half, a campaign is being launched to conquer land in the upper half of the channel. When the soldiers get up to the top of the channel, they're bringing the king and the queen, which is the blue line, on a victory tour. Now, the soldiers have gone off the chart, if you will, right? They're off the mapped geography. So this is a riskier area. It doesn't mean it can't continue, but it's like the discussion we had yesterday when we were looking at those volume weighted average price cones. We're very far away from normal. 1/3 of the time, we're going to keep going. 2/3 of the time, we're likely going to mean revert. So I have to lean to the side of statistics, especially when we're doing short-term trading like this. So my view was to exit. I exited while that bar was green, a couple of minutes ago or a minute ago or so, and locked down, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 bucks of profit on one micro trade that was done right off the open. Now, I don't think we've established the range, from the open. We need the first 15 minutes or so to pass. So from effectively the launching point, if you will, which was the top lip of the mattress, effectively, roughly 29,080 points. We've moved up to, about 80 points. Okay, that's for the NASDAQ, anemic, to be quite frank. It's not a big move, especially with respect to what we've gotten used to in days gone by. Now, I haven't paid any service to the ES, so I'm going to do that for you right now. Let me just get that going on one side of the screen over here for you. Bear with me for a moment. I just want to make sure I've got the right accounts on both here. And you can see we're coming down now, right? So did I know that that was going to happen? No. Did you know that that was going to happen? No. Did we have a suspicion? Yeah. Was it an educated outlook that it was likely going to pull back? Well, 2/3 of the time, we're going to mean revert. Remember, we just talked about the soldiers coming back down to earth? There it is. Now, my expectation is that there's going to be an echo, and we're going to push up one more time. That's the next trade that I want to catch. Now, I also want to make sure I do the right service for you on the S&P E-minis and make sure that I dot the I's, cross the T's there for you. So we're at 75.35. ATR students, 75.32 is the line in the sand for the week. You know that 75.55 is the challenge line that we want to punch through the set of nested volume point of controls. It's in a very similar technical setup to the NASDAQ. The 1 minute, 5 minute, 1 hour charts are in buy signals. The 1 hour chart is tentative in a buy signal, just like the NQ. The only difference here is that there's a little bit more room to breathe because on the hourly chart, we're above the top of the channel. So I like the long on a back test of 75.30 to 32 for a bounce back up. Or I like the long above roughly 75.40 to 41. Okay. If we're going to go to the short side thinking, we'll talk about that at that time. Okay, so here we go now. It looks like some folks got the trade, which is amazing. I know it was right out of the gates, so it might be a little harder to jump into right out of the gates, but here's where a resumption is potentially afoot. One thing that I'm watching over here right now is the fast speed line is below the slow. And these are the very short-term moving averages, so that gives me a little bit of concern. Actually, it's back above. No, it's sitting flat on it. So that's not clean enough for me. Right, the blue line and the magenta line, the cyan and magenta lines. I need the cyan line the blue line to be above the magenta line. Why? Because we have another toolkit on the screen beyond the war analogy toolkit, the triple S toolkit. We've got the champion trend pack toolkit on screen. Right, we're in a champion trend buy zone, champion cross buy zone, range breaker, wealth signal, breakout forecasters, all the way until this bar, 9:33 a.m. And then when we don't have breakout forecasters for 2 to 3 bars and a bearish speed line cross in this buy sequence, the sequence is over. And on a 1 minute chart, what happens that's predictable, it's not perfect, it's predictable, there's probability. We go back and test the last, the second, the third, and fourth last breakout forecaster is very common to test on a 1 minute chart. So we could come all the way back down to where we launched up from, which would be around the 29,080 to 90-ish area. And that is afoot right now. Did that hit home with you folks? Did that make sense? For those of you who are studying the Champion Trend Pack Toolkit and are new, let me know. Because you hear me say this over and over and over again. It's the same thing, right? It's just a different presentation in the market today that we're working with. So we did come back. Have we tested the second last breakout forecaster? No, not yet. And it's trying to reverse back up again. It's in a very extended state. It could make a higher high, but this is not a trade that I'd want to take. It's just not something that I'm interested in taking. And Ken T, when you're using the Champion Trend Pack Toolkit, there's a sequence. There's 3 stages. When stage 3 ends, which ends by way of an absence of breakout forecasters, 2 to 3 bars, and a bearish speed line cross in the case of an upward or buy sequence. After we're done with the breakout forecasters and 2 to 3 bars go by and we see the fast speed line cross below the slow, the predictable outcome is price is likely going to come back and test the last, second, third, fourth last breakout forecaster. Okay, on a 1 minute chart, testing the third and fourth last breakout forecasters are common. And then the sequence has the opportunity to resume. It's not certainly going to resume. It has the opportunity to resume. And there's some great videos that I've done up exactly on this in, all which ways that you can ask me about. It's in the prop trader training module on Wealth Charts TV. Right now, I want to just keep focused on, hey, are we going to actually make this drop happen? Now, am I so sure about it coming all the way down here that I should short this? No, that's silly. We're in a buy sequence. We've got the 5 minute chart in a buy sequence as well. Now, the 5 minute chart tends to project out 20 to 90 minutes. It's the chart I'm trading. I'm using the 1 minute chart as an execution mechanism, a triggering mechanism. So if I'm looking at that 5 minute chart, I'm going, where are we in the CTP sequence here? We're in stage 1. We've got champion trend and the champion cross green zone with the dot at the bottom of the main chart. And I've got the triple S indicator and we're above the speed lines. So we're in stage 1. We still have a lot more that we can get through here. We're coming up to local resistance. Okay. We can see that from looking left and where my crosshairs are. And my concern really is my indicator at the bottom of the screen is showing the soldiers crossing above the generals and the king and the queen and the top of the channel. This is an odd presentation. This is atypical. It makes it less predictable. Now, the fact is it's in a buy sequence. The 1 hour chart's in a tentative buy sequence just from the triple S standpoint. So if I go back to my 1 minute chart and I go, hey, we've not come back and tested all of these breakout forecasters. It's still the beginning of the day and we're punching out to a new high. If I want to trade here, it's got to be scalp only. Okay, so I'll try one. Okay, it'll be very quick. Like I'll try to maintain the 10 seconds. I'm in. It's gone profit positive. And as soon as that 10 seconds is up, I'm out. Right? The objective of that trade was to carry on with this, this consolidate and continue, but recognize the recognition at the same time is that it's very expensive. So it's going to be whippy, just like you're seeing right now, right? So you'll have it pulse up and then pull right back down. Now, if it continues and I'm not on that train, I can't kick myself about that, right? I have to follow my rules and my tools, right? My tools are telling me that we're very, very stretched. We're at the point where, 2/3 of the time, we're going to try to mean revert, despite making the higher, well, actually, in light of even making the higher high, because we got even further stretched. So one has to be very careful in this location. Now, I'm also going to take a quick look-see at my sheet that has just the volume profile histogram on it, because I want to get a good sense of, what we're coming up into. So bear with me for a moment while I just organize that chart a little bit on my side of the screen. So Manny, for it depends on which prop you're trading with. So FFF is incredible. Love the team at FFF. Love the community at FFF as well. And what I'm doing is I'm featuring the FFF accounts, and one of the rules is you have to be. I think it's 50% of your trades have to be 10 seconds or more per account. It was 20 seconds, and they reduced it down. So kudos to them for being able to do that. As far as resistive structures that we're coming into, I'm not seeing anything really, because we've punched through the last high area. I'm seeing the next area being about 250, roughly. So it's about 75 points of upside potential from where we are right now. It's going to be an expensive 75 points. So one wants to be very careful with their decision to enter there. Yeah, that's the best insight that I can provide on that at this moment. One wants to be very careful if they're focused on the move from here to 29, 250, 245. And Sharon, the indicator on the bottom of the screen that I have on is called the triple S indicator. So the triple S indicator is a proprietary indicator that I've created. And I just took you through, I think you were here for the part where I took you through the idea of, what this is, right? Trading is war. So it's continuing. I'm not on the train. I'm not kicking myself. I know it's very expensive up over here. And this is a spot where the psychology is kind of kicking in. Everyone has it. Everyone is going to have to deal with the wet matter in between their ears, where I go, can I find a way of getting into this to take the rest of the move? And obviously the answer is, yeah, just hit the button. But am I comfortable doing that right now? I'm still not. I'm still not. I'm not thinking as if it's gotten away from me. I'm thinking that the move is very expensive. And if I had wanted to risk a entry into it, so far you've seen me trade twice. Both trades are profitable. So I don't want to jump into something where I know the statistics are against me, but I did get a breakout forecaster on that last closed 1 minute bar. We do have a buy sequence in force on the 5-minute chart, and it's now potentially moving into stage 2 of the sequence, right? When you get champion trend and champion cross, which are 2 of the 5 indicators of the champion trend pack, when they're both there on the last closed bar, which they were on the first 5-minute bar, okay, I'm in stage 1. Then we get an orange ball under price, I'm in stage 2. So we're advancing despite being so expensive. I'm going to use the 1-minute chart to kind of give me some guidance on whether or not this can continue. And, I still see the risk is too high. Now, I'm seeing similar things to what happened to me the other day when I had a little system slowdown. So I'm refreshing all of my layouts at this moment on other screens. So I'm going to take a pause from trading this no matter what. And you'll probably see the screen glitch or the camera glitch while I'm doing this. And Gus, it happens, right now because I've got lots of broadcasting software running in Zoom, which is hogging my machine. That's causing a little bit of a technical slowdown for me, but it's coming at the right time, right? This is a spot where I have personally decided I'm just not willing to play the move higher from here, right? We're in a buy sequence, things are well, thanks, George. I appreciate it. You can lean on that joke probably another 2 more times and I'll still laugh. George is writing me, video's better now, but the odd dude in the corner is the odd dude is still in the corner, referring to me, of course. Okay, so give me another moment, another little refresh. Got sunny outside. That's nice. That always is a nice thing to brighten one's day. All right, almost there with you. So the pullback that's happening right now is coming down on a 1-minute chart into a supportive area that's rising, right? So remember the formation that I discussed called the kill zone, right? Where you have falling resistance on top of price, rising support below price, and it's like jaws clamping down on price. Well, that's where we are right now until we're back above both speed lines. The top jaw is the speed lines, bottom jaw is the channel and the champion cross zone and the champion trend buy zone trail line. Okay, now remember from my summit presentations, if this starts to go again, if we come up above the top jaw, despite how expensive we are, how stretched we are, we're very far away from the center of the channel. The soldiers are off the top of the chart, making it doubtful that it's going to continue higher in an orderly manner. But if we do go up from where we are right now, I want to see that champion trend buy zone trail line tilting up, right? We got that little up tilt over here, and then it ran up. Now it's plateauing. So I want to see that tilt up if I'm going to buy again. I'm not expecting to buy again. I'm expecting right now that we're going to have a gap in time where things are just not going to be, tradable. Now, could one take a short on? Oh, I'm expecting us to pull back on the 1-minute chart, but on the 5-minute chart, if we start breaking things, then perhaps I can start looking at short. The 1-hour chart is in only a tentative buy signal state right now. So at this moment in time, I'm not too concerned about, playing a little pullback on the short side. But I need to see the chart that I'm day trading give me some reason to do so. One reason would be break the slow speed line, come down below that magenta line around 29,160. The other reason would be come down below this breakout forecaster, below 135. And then where am I shorting it down to? Well, probably the top lip of the mattress, probably close to 29,090, 80 points in that area. So is it viable? Yeah. Is it the best decision? Scalp is its own universe, so it could work on that basis. But to hold the trade for minutes, up to a dozen, maybe half dozen, no. So I'm not going to go in that direction. It technically would be a counter trend trade, right? Now, if it wants to resume, what do I know? 5-minute charts in a buy sequence, 1-hour charts in a buy sequence. I'm very, very stretched and expensive. But I am very interested now because it's a strong enough resumption. Still have about 8 minutes and change before the end of the hour. I'm interested in trying along if we see that fast speed line, that cyan line, cross above the magenta line on the open of the next 1-minute bar. That would imply that we're going to punch through the highs and have another pop up. I'll treat it as a very limited duration trade with small size. Now, I'm saving my dry powder for after hours type trading in general. There it is. I'm in. Where's my risk? Not willing to let it go really below the speed lines. Trade worked out right away. Profits taken right away. Thank you very much. So 3 out of 3 so far, all profitable. Did anyone get that last little pop? Let me know. Well, I'm glad to hear that, Sharon, Vivian, Tom, Donna, Bavir, Justin, Richard. Who else? Gerald, Laura. Amazing. Who else got it? Let's see. Let me see. Nice. There's so many folks that got it. Bill, Jim. Amazing. I'm happy to hear it. Okay. What's next? That's great. Celebration over. Move on to the next. Continuation higher here is just so expensive. We're so stretched at this moment in time. We're stretched to the point where it becomes unreasonable. Well, let's not just say unreasonable. Let's just say expensive. It becomes quite expensive to keep the position going here. Look, it can still work. I've already done the work on another screen, which I'll just share with you again here. where I've determined where we are likely to come up to. But so far, 3 out of 3 trades, doing well. The next resistive structure is right in around here. So around the 250-ish area. And you can see the volume profile histogram sticking out over here. I need to just do a little change on template on one of my other layouts. So I'm going to do that very quick here to make sure I've got my triple S and my ES up on screen for me to look at. So we're sitting at around 220 right now. There's potentially 30 to 40 points of upside from where we are right now. The question mark now is whether or not taking advantage of that range makes sense or not. So I'm waiting right now to see if I'm willing to. It's already started to move without me, and I'm okay with that because I think that this is an expensive area to trade to begin with. Nonetheless, I may be able to take a little trade on the ES at this stage. Haven't traded the ES in front of you. I've traded really the NASDAQ in front of you. So let's see if we can do a little ES trade here. So I'm just going to get my multi-time frame dashboard with the ES up on screen here. 4-hour chart, daily chart, not a big problem. We're above structures, so that's fine. That's not what I wanted to do. Just want to put it right there. And 1 minute is at 42, which I qualified as a buy line. This will be very short-term time frame type trade. So I want to see if I can get a little pop continuation from here. If not, I'm going to have to take it off the table. If it breaks that fast speed line, I go out, get out of the trade. All right, my finger's on the trigger to get out. All right, very short duration. Let's see if we get a little pop up here. If that bar goes red, I'm out. Okay, struggling. Is it likely to follow through? It can. Do I want to be participating in this move? Not really. I think it's very expensive. So winning streak is over. So that's my fourth trade. Fourth trade, unfortunately, didn't work out. I held it very briefly, more than the 10 seconds, but I got out of the way. And what am I seeing over here? We're off the charts in terms of where the soldiers or the triple S line is relative to the top of the channel. So this is unmapped territory. We're off the top of the chart on the 1 minute chart as well. 2/3 of the time when we're in this type of situation, we're going to start mean reverting, and it can be fast. So I want to be very careful with that. Let's see. So Ken T, you ask, what time end of day is our better, to put the dry powder to work? It depends on your acumen of trading the after hours, right? When the earnings are released, I think that we're going to see Tesla's earnings released at around 4:20 p.m. Eastern time. Alphabet's earnings are usually very quickly after the closing bell. And correct me if I'm wrong for folks who have already kind of mapped that out. I was going to go figure that out a little later. But this is still continuing here. So I'm sitting back going, wow, the drift, the melt up is still happening. Okay. We're at my 250 line. So that 75 points did materialize. It didn't materialize necessarily very orderly, but it did materialize, and more is coming in right now. We're sitting at 75.46 at this moment in time. And the NQ is sitting at 255, 260, 250 in that area. So what I want to do at this stage is I want to determine whether or not this very extended condition is going to keep going. Oh, Tesla's at 405. Mike Arth, thank you for that. I appreciate that. So Goog is right at 4. Yeah, I remember them coming out very quickly. I thought Tesla was a little later, but at 4:05 p.m. Tesla releases. So great. So you're going to have some fairly large size market movement at that time, but it's earnings, right? Technicals get disrupted by earnings. My game plan is to trade long and use Tesla and Goog's earnings to take on longs on the NQ in the after hours. We'll see. Okay, so I'm moving off the ES chart. The NQ chart is what I'm bringing back on. It's still a move up. It's still very stretched. We're approaching the end of the hour. My bet is that by the end of the hour, we'll have maxed out and probably start a little bit of a pullback. It could be a small one. It could be one that's more pronounced. And I think it's the latter. So we'll have to see. Right now at this stage, I think that it's probably best if I just keep my fingers off the button and patiently wait for the hour change. The ES has done a great job of getting off the mat as well, but it's coming into the major waterline of resistance at the 75.55 area. And the major ceiling of resistance for the NQ is still well above us. It's, you know, the bottom of that ceiling is sitting at 29,650. So there's another 400 points up to that area. My estimate is that we're not going to traverse that during the market morning. Some of it could be traversed this afternoon before the closing bell. And I'm thinking most of it is traversed as we move through the earnings releases after the bell. Again, that ceiling of resistance is something that I've shared with you already plenty of times, giving you the rationale for it. I'll just bring it back up here to make sure that everyone's aware. It's a set of nested volume profile histograms that have their volume points of control between roughly 29,650 to 680. To 29,650 to 850. It's this area. Okay, it's this area that is the concerning area. So now, back to the matter at hand. We're about to move into the hour change. We're in a buy sequence on a 5-minute chart and a 1-minute chart. The 5-minute chart's buy sequence is in stage 3. So, and it's doing what it's supposed to do. We're continuing to move up. Is this melt up going to continue? Are we going to just break up and keep going? Well, I think that there's a good likelihood of this type of pattern playing out off of the back of this bar. And so far correct. So I think that we're going to see a bit of a pullback at this stage. And as we've crossed the hour, let's see if that happens. Now think about the market price action as a river with 3 streams, 3 currents, right? You've got the deep undercurrent, the mid current, and the surface. What's really working for the bullish side right now is the very top of the market. It's not the mid current. It's not the center. It's not the deep undercurrent at this moment. It can still be traded, right? And I'm still willing to try to take on trades here, but I know how expensive we are and how stretched we are at this stage. And Vera, sure, I can take a look at gold and silver. I mentioned a little bit about them earlier, but we have to take a look at them live as well. So absolutely, I can do that in just a bit. Right now, I want to just set up for the next potential trade. So the next potential trade is still signaled long on the NQ and on the ES. The ES is probably going to try to come up and tag the 75.55 area. It's at 75.50 at this moment in time. And I'm not in a trade on either side right now because I think that we're a little too stretched. But the bullish move has not ended. We are still seeing breakout forecasters. We're still seeing price above the speed lines. I've got my double green dots starting to form underneath the current 5-minute bar from the SSS indicator. But this is really off the charts, right? Off the charts. The SSS line is well off of the known geography, which is the channel. So not a moment in time where I'm comfortable setting it and letting it run. When a pullback comes in play, it's going to come in fast and feverishly. So I'm not going to avoid taking another long if the opportunity presents. I'm just going to be very short duration and small size. Okay, there's your 1-minute chart. Now, when we cross the hour, I said, hey, I think we're going to see a pattern that looks like this, where my crosshairs are tracing right now, from around 9:45 to onwards. And so far, that has been correct. And the question mark now comes in: can I actually short this? Is it time to break? It's a very risky trade to take. I'm taking it. And if it doesn't work for me directly, I'm not going to stay in it for very long at all, right? And I'm taking it on a micro with reason as well, right? My expectation here is that we start to falter, we start to pull back. And, it's not doing anything for me. It's not the ideal position to be in because we can get snapped right back up. And if it gets snapped up above the speed lines, I may actually reverse it to long. It's not my my typical thing to do, but hey, we're back pulsing above the speed lines. We're seeing the fast speed line come down below the slow, right? We should see the downward pressure take it down to test the last, the second, the third, the fourth last breakout forecaster. Down, yeah, there we go. There you go. Okay. So thank you very much. I'll take my profit and just continue banking little pieces of the move as we continue to move forward. So what did you hear from me in advance? Okay. In advance. And I'm not listening to the news. I'm not looking at anything like that. There's no space, actually, real estate for it. Bottom line, what you heard from me, which I repeated. Remember when Ken T asked the question, how do you know what's this champion trend pack sequence? How do you know what the end is? Well, we had an absence of 1 bar, 2 bars with no breakout forecasters, and the speed lines were compressing. They weren't crossed. And we're in a location, from my indication in the bottom of the screen here, that it says we're very stretched, very far away from normal. We're more likely going to mean revert. So I use that for a little trade that it can be called counter trend, but it was scalp, right? So it was not something that I was planning on sitting in for minutes. I think it lasted for maybe a minute at most, and we got that little drop. Is it still likely to drop? We haven't tested the 3rd and the 4th last breakout forecaster, which is the usual. Once a sequence ends, right? We got a range breaker putting us back into stage 2 of the CTP buy sequence here, a resumption. That happened at 9:53 a.m. Eastern time. Then we got breakout forecasters all the way up until the 10 a.m. Eastern time 1-minute bar. Okay. And then there was an absence for 2 to 3 bars and a bearish speed line cross. What we know is when the CTP sequence ends, typically we end up seeing price action come down and test the 3rd and the 4th last breakout forecaster on a 1-minute chart. And then the sequence can resume. Now, remember the last time it had the opportunity to do this, it didn't go all the way down. It did not go all the way down to test. It barely even came to the 2nd last breakout forecaster when we had that end of the sequence shortly after the open, right? It didn't come down. That's opening juice, right? There's more momentum. And then there was only 1 breakout forecaster right there. That did not, you need at least 2 to tell you that we're jumping back into stage 3. That didn't happen there. And we had a bearish speed line cross. And we did in earnest resume the sequence right here with a range breaker. That's the cyan dot underneath the bar here. And then we got breakout forecasters. And again, we're not seeing it come down and test the 3rd or 4th, barely even got to the 2nd. And now it's trying to resume at a very expensive stage. Okay, the marker for where it's coming up to, I want to just share that with you. If we're going to go higher, I want you to be prepared for the where we're going, and I might want to jump on that trade. So you're looking at a daily bar chart, a daily candlestick chart of the NQ right now with volume profile histograms on it. So you can see where my crosshairs are right now, roughly 330, okay, 330, which is effectively the high of the session, near the highs of yesterday as well. But that's the node right there that would act first as a major resistance on an intraday basis. So the idea, and who wrote that? And Fuad wrote that. We reached previous daily close, so may not go too far. See, we're thinking alike. I'm coming at it with the volume profile, and then I noticed, reminded myself that it's near the highs of the session, near yesterday's close. So yeah, makes sense completely. Around the 330 area, give or take 5 or 10 points, is probably a resistance area that's going to be hard to break through. If it does chew through that, the next level that we're likely to come up to is this DeMark weekly resistance 1 line. It's sitting at 29,418. It's a mathematically generated line that's lowest common denominator. Lots of machines use it out there. So at this stage, I don't have a lot of I'm not sitting back going, I really want to go long on this market. No, I actually think that we're going to start coming down. Okay, so you already seen that. So you've already seen that, and you might see another one right now, right here. So I'm in. 2nd last breakout forecaster has been officially tested now. I want to see a breach. So I'm in this short a little early, obviously, but I want to see it come down to at least the 215, 213 area. And if it comes up halfway through the bar, I'll bug out of the trade because I've got mathematical signals that still put this in a buy sequence. It's just a weekend buy sequence, right? So I'm seeing the soldiers, the triple S line, come from above the top of the channel down into the channel and cross below the generals. The generals are the dashed white line, the fast momentum line. If the generals are going to send the soldiers down to the king and the queen to take them home, that's the trade I want to be on and be short in. I'm not going to know that until the triple S line evacuates quadrant 4 and moves into quadrant 3. Right? Quadrant 1 is down here. That's 2. That's the center of the 4 quadrant channel. That's quadrant 3. That's quadrant 4. So I can see that the soldiers are back in geography that's predictable. I can see that they've crossed below the generals, but they have not really made a beeline yet for the border between quadrant 4 and quadrant 3. So let's see, because we could see this thing resume, right? We do have the backing of the 5-minute chart. It's in a buy sequence. Okay, but it's getting damaged a little bit right now. It might just be a pause, but it's still very, very stretched. The hourly chart, well, it did end up with a buy sequence. So, I don't want to fight that. If this is, if this is going to bounce back up above the slow speed line, I'm probably going to get out of the way. The slow speed line sitting at around 245, 248, somewhere in that area, or 249. There's no reason for me to be in that trade, but I might get a chance to come back into it. So I'm constantly just analyzing the levels, lines, movements in order to help me make the determination as to whether I stay, whether I go. It's like that song, should I stay or should I go? Factify, I see you're asking for FFF account giveaways. We did that last week. We gave away so many. So stay tuned on that. In the days to come. I'm working with the team to get a little promotional code done for me so that you get a super amazing deal and some giveaways too. So the trade's working out, right? As we thought. Have we come down and tested the third last breakout forecaster? Yep. Are we testing the fourth last? Yeah. Should I take my profit? Yeah. Thank you. Right? It looks like reaction time was a little slow, but can we continue to come down? Sure. Okay. But the predictable outcome and the rules associated with that is what I'm trading here, right? Effectively, what I'm trading is the idea of, hey, we're going to come back, and then the opportunity for the resumption is there. So we could see a little bit of a push back up. But I don't think it's going to be successful. Why? My triple S indicator is telling me, hey, even though the champion trend pack has, we've had resumption upon resumption. We had 2 resumptions from the initial move. This resumption is less likely to work out. So you look at the, start of the day. We had the initial sequence start. We went into stage 3. We ended stage 3. We had a minor pullback. We didn't test the breakout forecasters. We tried to resume the sequence in earnest. We did marginally. It was very brief. Only one breakout forecaster, nothing else. No wealth signal, no range breaker. We pulled back, tested that breakout forecaster. We bounced. And then we went into a resumption in earnest on the 9:53 a.m. 1-minute bar. We got a range breaker. We, of course, got breakout forecasters following that. And then we had an absence. And then we pulled back to test the breakout forecasters. We tested, the last, second, third last, and pretty much the fourth last. We did test the fourth last. And the opportunity for the sequence to resume is now afoot, right? So you saw me get out of that short right at the right time, which is what this is all about, timing it. Is this resumption, and that's the next question, one that I want to take on? So from an alignment in signals, the hourly chart is in a buy signal state. Champion cross is there. Champion trend is not. We still are dealing with the sell zone trail line as resistance. And that's sitting at what, around 278. We're at 260. We've got the triple S. We've got the champion cross dot tentatively there. We've got the zone converting over from red to green. So the hourly chart is leaning more bullish, but it still has a barrier that it has not gotten through. Okay, the 5-minute chart is bullish. Okay, but we've got an absence of 1 bar, no breakout forecaster. That's the last closed 5-minute bar. So last closed 5-minute bar, no breakout forecaster. And now you've got a test pretty much of the last one. And this bar does not have a breakout forecaster on it either. The speed lines have compressed. This is all leaning to no, it's not going to work out. So I don't want to take a long here. Okay. If you understood what I just went through, give me a lucky number 7 in the chat. If you want me to clarify, ask, because this is where the magic, this is the learning that leads to earning usually. I'm hopeful. And Suraj, that's fine. But ask the question where you missed it, right? Siraj made me laugh. He was like, okay, it's not a 7, it's a 3.5. Halfway understand it. So I get the message, but you give me a pointed question and I'll try to answer it. Put it in the simplest terms possible. In order to resume a buy sequence, we need to be closer to the center of the field rather than the top of the field, right? Or at the bottom of the field, right? If we're all the way at the top of the field and we're resuming a buy sequence, we're off the field. We're going into uncharted territory, right? And I agree. Repetition, Siraj, is the key here, right? Repetition live with execution. That's where it gets locked in. Okay, so are we coming down? Well, look, I've got the 5-minute chart. Absence of breakout forecaster on the last closed 5-minute bar. No breakout forecaster here. Speed lines have compressed, and I'm in a buy sequence. So either it gets its bearings and gets going and gives me a move above roughly the high, and I can play it up from there. I don't think I want to take a trade on unless I'm at least in the 270s on the long side. Now, what about the short side, right? There is a certain moment where you're still seeing buy signals, but a turn is happening, right? This indicator at the bottom of the screen supports that. It's telling me that I'm so far away from normal on a chart that is my day trading chart. The soldiers, the triple S line is so far above the top of the channel, it's obscene. We're more likely going to come back down into known geography. Okay, there's 2 bars and a bearish speed line cross. I have no problem shorting that. So I'm in. Where's my risk tolerance to? And you can see the trade's profitable already. Profitable already. Coming down into local support. I'm taking profit. Why do I do this so frequently? Is this move likely going to continue down? Yes, likely. Why am I doing this? Market assassin? That's not a good screen cap of me. I have to watch my facial movements, but there you go. And down we're going now. But why am I taking profit so frequently? So I have profit, right? That's the goal here. Did anyone get that last short? Give me a lucky number 7 in the chat if you got that last short. Wow, it's beautiful outside. It's still a little cooler out here, though. Where are we at? Let's see. Wow. I work in Celsius, 17 Celsius. I can't go to the pool with that weather. But here we go. Okay. Well, and Fuad, I agree with you, right? The reason I brought this up is the so super extended condition that we're seeing on Triple S on that 5-minute chart. It is hard to avoid that. All right, it's whacking me in the face. Can a resumption happen? Sure. Should I take the resumption? Well, I've got the backing of a resumption long, that is. I've got the backing of a partial buy signal state on the 1-hour chart. And you can see the soldiers, generals, king and the queen, they're all in quadrant 3. We're not in a spot where this is off the map. And we're above the MSR channel. And my indicator is on a buy, and the double green dots are there, and we're above the channel. So I'm comfortable with it if it wants to resume. But I think, as I was mentioning to Siraj, it's come back to center of field. Come back marginally even, pull the slingshot back, and get ready to shoot again. So has enough of a pullback happened against the 5-minute time frame? So on a 5-minute chart, once the buy sequence ends, which is 2 bars, no breakout forecasters, bearish speed line cross, you test the last, you test the second, and it's very common that you test the third last breakout forecaster as well. That's all the way down here. That's in the 29,130 area. That's where we're getting that rising center of MSR channel. And the champion trend buy zone trail line is going sideways. So at this stage, if it resumes, I'd like to see a kink up in the curve on the champion trend buy zone trail line, which is this green line right there. And I'd like to see price above the speed lines on a 5-minute chart. I don't need the fast speed line above the slow, but we'll see. Market assassin, you gotta get rid of that picture of me. You gotta get rid of that picture of me. It's irking me. I'm trying not to make the same smile. I'm probably doing it again. All right. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, man. It's all in good jest. All in good jest. It says that's okay. That's absolutely okay. This keeps it lively, right? But we have to stay on point. So what I'm trying to figure out at this stage now is cross-market behavior, catalysts that can give me a reason to go, no, we're not going to resume, or yes, we are going to resume. We know we started off the morning 3 points. We're likely going to go up. We had a tailwind behind the market from macro tethers. We got our sequence started. We went long, and we took pieces of the move on the way up. I didn't get them all. We recognized where pullbacks would happen and opportunistic shorts would come into play, and we took them. The story of the day, fourth point, is a day that's going to try to hold, and the story of the week is a day and a week that's going to try to hold up and push up into the release of earnings after the bell today. And you can't make up the fact that this has been presented to you over and over and over again. You effectively have seen me bring up my private flight paths here for you and share it with you, right? I think we're in plan A. I think we're going to punch through 75.55 after coming up at it again, which, by the way, we just did this morning, right? We have not gotten through it yet. I think, and what you've heard me say is getting through it is probably going to require positioning right into the release of earnings or the earnings themselves, or both together, right? And right now, where are we? The ES is sitting at 75.43. It did clip, and I think someone mentioned in the chat, I don't know, I think it was Fuad. It actually breached it slightly, right? It got up to, I think, 56 and change. But right now, let's get back to the matter at hand. If this sequence is going to resume, do I want to jump back in? Is there an opportunity over here? There is. Is the 5-minute chart seeing price above the speed lines? Yep. Okay, good. All right, so there is a resumption long opportunity here. It's expensive, but it's here. I'm in. I already have the spidey sense that this is going to be a losing trade, though. Now, I'm not going to say I'm hopeful that I'm wrong, because hope is not a plan, but I want to be in the position for a very short amount of time. So let's see if we get a little push up to the local high here. I'll take my profit. I'm done. 25 seconds. We come up above 80. It's going to be hard to argue if we get a bar or two above the 280 marker. It's going to be hard to argue with that. Bear with me for a moment. So I'm not up huge. I'm trading micros. I'm up, what, 259 in the accounts that I've traded in front of you. I had one loser, which was about 30, 40, 50 bucks. The rest have been winning trades by and large. And I hope that that's been helpful along the ride, of course. It seemingly is. Okay, let's see. You got it, Kevin? I'm happy to hear that, man. That's amazing. Okay, so indecision above the speed lines on a 1-minute chart, in earnest trying to resume a buy sequence after the slingshot got pulled back. So we got pulled back. We went down to the champion trend buy zone trail line. The one differential that you're seeing right now, look at the color of the channel, right? What color did it turn into? Magenta. The channel that I have on screen is the MSR channel, but it's got the technical damage overlay on it. So I'm going to highlight it there so you can see it. We're resuming on a 1-minute chart a buy sequence where that buy sequence is in play, but the actual channel is saying technical signals are likely going to be less effective. Now, that's on a 1-minute chart. Is it the same on the 5-minute chart? No, I think the channel is still green and all good. It's green and all good. And I think it just changed back to green on the 1-minute chart. That doesn't mean we're going to go up, right? We are seeing the speed lines compress. We're coming back down again. And again, my indicator, I have to trust the tools that I built and the tools that Rob has built together. And my indicator is saying, don't touch a long. So I'm not. It's actually giving me permission to short it because we moved into quadrant 3, but I haven't taken on the short. And I'm kind of kicking myself. But there is an opportunity perhaps below 200, but we have to be careful, right? We have to be careful because there's support there as well, somewhere around the 165 to 185 area. So it's not really a very lucrative short. The short's going to be better below 165. And I think someone was asking, oh, Laura, you were asking where you find the timer. Just go up to see the top right over here, the little toggle menu right there that I'm pointing to. Click that open and then toggle on position time indicator. All right. If it's blue, it will show it to you. So there can be a short here. It's just got to be done very quickly if one is doing it. And I'm not doing that. So what do we have? 29,205. We breached 200. There's risk down to 185 to 165, right down to where my crosshairs are. I'm not going to take this particular trade, not because I don't think it'll work. I just think we're coming effectively into the territory where we consolidated shortly after the open. That usually is remarkable as a support structure if we're above it. So I'm not that interested in it. I'm not interested in the long either. All right, I'm not interested in the long either. So time to take a walk, time to take a break. No, I'm still going to stay here. I'm, of course, going to evaluate it with you. I think this is a good time where we can actually look at gold. I know, Vera, you asked about gold. So I can do that very briefly here. I'll keep my eye on the NQ and ES on another screen. And let's take a quick look-see at precious metals. Made you took the short? Amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so gold. The assessment that I provided at the beginning of the week to ATR students was above 410, 409. Okay, it's still day tradable. Above 438, 439, perhaps intra-week swingable. Be very careful with it. But above there, we can start running up towards the top of the channel. We've perforated the top of the channel. This is a downtrend channel. It's the statistical channel. It's not something that I would mess around with at this stage, especially into Guggen Tesla. So what I said at the beginning of the day as related to gold and silver is I'd want to tighten up my stops and make sure I'm taking some profits before the release of earnings. If the earnings end up coming out and busting us above the top of the channel and really, keeping us above the 4180 area, which is the top of the weekly pivot range, sure, we've got another magnet that we can come up to, and that would be around the 4234-ish area. Are we in a bottoming process for gold? Yes, I think so. Is this bottoming process good enough to set it and forget it and, Ronco a trade? No, I don't think so. So at this stage, if one has taken the insight and gotten that intra-week bounce, I think that locking in a good chunk of it makes more sense. If I was in it, I can't tell you what to do. And I can tell you that if Guggen Tesla take it up above 4180, which I don't think it's necessarily going to be about that in the after hours. All the capital is going to be focused on the NQ, the Qs, the SPY, the ES, the NQ, etc. So, but above 4180, I cannot deny it's likely going to see something around the 42, 39, 36-ish area. That would be where it could probably head up to and then probably done for a little while. If we end up seeing a pullback in the equity market during the middle of the day, could it depress gold? Potentially. Watch the euro. If the euro is not breaking down, gold will hold up. So I'll pop up the euro here, which we saw was on a little bounce, not a big one. It's still holding on to most of its gains, a little over half of its gains. So that's still fair. It's still giving us staying power for gold and silver. My assessment on gold is at this stage, it's a hold to sell with the potential for it to pop up and make a bigger move in the after hours, but I don't think it's the focal point. With respect to silver, it's already made inroads to get up towards the top of its weekly pivot range. We already identified the line that we'd want to look at it long above. We saw the mattress as one area. We saw this volume point of control, 58 bucks and about 75, 80 pennies. It's been in all my videos that I issue pre-market. So I've shared all of that. It's in my strategy videos in the ATR. None of this should be news, but it's the same sort of MO, right? If we're going to get a after hours move up in the NASDAQ, silver is probably going to respond better than gold. And it could very easily pop up towards, the local high, call it 62.50-ish. I don't think it will hold there. I think we'll cool off after that. I think we're in a fairly traditional bottoming process at this stage, right? We came down to the bottom of the channel, came up, didn't go all the way to the top, came down, rode the center of the channel, did not come in down to the bottom of the channel again, and made our move up to the top. So effectively what we're doing here is being in play, being in a bottoming process. 12 once, that image I like. That looks pretty good. Oh, that's great. Let's see if I can pop that up for everyone to see. That one's great. That one's great. Well done. Well done. Oh, that's great. I think you gotta love AI, right? Now, I just need to fix that screen. That was a fun one, though. Okay, let me get off that and get back to reality here. So I've purposefully disconnected from trading the ES or the NQ where we are right now for a reason, right? We're not in a spot where I'm comfortable with longs or shorts. We're underneath a barrier of resistance, and the short's not working just yet, unless you took it, obviously, as someone did. I think Maju took it at around 270. So let's go and take a look at it together right now and just see where we're at. Yeah, not a whole bunch has happened. If it wants to resume a buy sequence, we have aligned signals, right? The 5-minute chart is in a buy sequence, but it's off the charts in terms of how far away from normal it is. So harder for me to want to get behind this and go, yeah, it'll work out. I think we're dangling at highs and getting ready for another drop. What are you saying, Don Z? Need to add in more wins in a day than Rob. I don't know if anyone can do that. I don't know if anyone can do that, honestly. So I'll leave that as is. Okay. Just clicking some buttons on another screen over here, making sure all is good. Yep. Looking up at the sky. Then I saw that. I know. What I'm looking up at are this bank of monitors above me. I might end up having to spread them out, sideways, so I don't keep staring up at the sky. But hey, I'm a Neil deGrasse Tyson fan. Keep looking up. He has two very famous lines. Keep looking up, which is also Carl Sagan's line. What's the other line? The universe is under no obligation to make sense to you. Just replace the word universe with market. The market is under no obligation to make sense to you, but I'm going to try to make some sense of it and share it with you. So now a resumption is afoot. Double green dots are there. Triple S line is trying to get into the uppermost quadrant, okay, of a 1-minute chart. And I really don't like this long, but this is the plug my nose and close my eyes and try to buy it moment. No, we don't have to do that as traders. Absolutely not. We take out the high, take out 275, 280. Okay. I'll be amenable at that point. Ain't plugging my nose, closing my eyes, and buying this. Makes no sense. I'm working off of 6 right now. I have capacity for 12, but it's a bit much. And I think I'm going to have to add 2 more on to get my broadcasting stuff off my main plane of view in this cockpit. Exactly. Okay, so there were a couple of questions that came in, right? There were a couple of questions that came in. So let me see if I can kind of weave that into the conversation as we're waiting for this to mature. It's obviously slowed down as the whole market at this stage. We've passed the center of the hour. Tom A, what are you saying? ES 5 minutes pull back. Triple S not convinced it's ready to rise yet. I agree. It's Triple S is not convinced on the ES at all. Right, we're holding our line in the sand though, right, Tom? We're 75.32, so we're holding that. But 1 minute charts on a sell. We're getting oscillating signals. Now we're coming into the rising support of the channel on a 5 minute chart. We're back testing the top of the channel on the hourly chart. It isn't a buy signal, right? Buy signals there, but we've gone from double green dots to single blue dots, which means the long is cooling off. And this is obviously the problem right there, right? Now we're getting some oscillating signals here. So no interest in longs for me right now. Short might become interesting, but again, for me, if I want to take a short, it would have to be here or it would have to be below 170. And I don't think I want to short it in the channel with technical damage, so I'm not going to do it. So Rob O, let's see, what is the red line at the bottom that goes up and down? So at the bottom of the screen, you're looking at an indicator called the triple S indicator. Okay, the triple S indicator, that's it right there. And that red line is the triple S line. Think about them as the soldiers. The dashed white line are the generals, fast momentum line. And the blue line is the slow momentum line. It's the king and the queen. And the channel is geography. The lower half of the channel is homeland. The upper half of the channel is enemy territory. Campaigns are usually launched in the bottom quadrant, like you can see here. But truth be told, the channel changes shape over time. So, in the moment, it was not in the bottom quadrant, I don't think. But this is a classic example of where a campaign is launched. So right there would have been an entry, 9:03 a.m. Eastern time. 9:03 a.m. Eastern time. The indicator got it. Nailed it, right? And up we've gone. Now, when the soldiers get up to the top of the channel or above the top, okay, it's time to bring the king and the queen on a victory tour, and they move into the upper half of the 4-quadrant channel. But what we're seeing happen right now is the soldiers have been negotiating with the generals what to do. And I think the generals are going to send the soldiers, the red line, down to the blue line and drag them back home to the safety of homeland, right? That's the idea. Now, that's the norm. That doesn't have to happen, but that would be the norm. So what I'm kind of leaning in on that for is when I look at the 5 minute time frame, which is what I'm really trading, the soldiers are off the charts. They're well above the top of the channel. Right? This campaign was launched in the uppermost quadrant of the 4-quadrant triple S channel. It's the riskiest longs to take. It still worked out, but it's one of the riskier longs to take. What normally happens is that red line is going to come back down into the channel, which means downward price action. So there's the answer to that question. Rob O, you let me know if that hit home with you. And Kevin writes, been fun making money with you this morning, saving up my dry powder for late in the session. And he's gone. Kudos to Kevin. And Don Z, I'm not gonna turn a competition down, but that would be an interesting thing to do. And Fuad, I see your comment. I know I'm a little delayed in the chat over here. This is at 10:32 you wrote in, so about 5 minutes ago. Tempted to go long, but won't do it. We're flat at a 1 minute chart, right? I think you were writing that in at the same time that I was considering the long, and I was saying, hey, this is one of those plug my nose, close my eyes moments. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. That was the right decision, it seems. Let's see if I can address any of the other comments in the chat here. Give me a second. So Andy L, you're saying when price moves above the cloud on a 15 minutes, should we only look for long? So I don't work with the cloud. If you're referring to the cloud as the champion cross indicator, I approach it a little differently. So again, did I point you to that video yesterday on how to use the champion trend pack toolkit? That's the spot that's going to make the difference. So reviewing that. And Rob, I got your message, so that made sense. Good. Michael T, let me just see what you're saying. And Michael T writes into me and says, would it be fair to use the technical damage as a no trade or chop zone? Absolutely. But what time frame are we trading? We're actually trading the 5-minute chart. There is no technical damage. But if I was going to try to take on a long, let's say price was above the speed lines and the fast speed line was above the slow, and it was getting ready to ramp up again, and I still saw technical damage on the 1-minute chart, it would keep me away from taking the trade, right? That's the way that I would employ it. And Michael K, I know you asked a question earlier. I'm trying to find it in the chat because I saw it out of the corner of my eye. I found it. What kind of signals are you going to watch, look after or before during the earnings later this afternoon to make a trade? So that's a great question. I'm literally going to just be looking at levels. So I'm going to look at two things. Okay, so I'll share with you two things. So in the after hours, I'm going to go to my VWAP cone template for the Mag 7 stocks. I'm going to put side by side, and I'm going to have the extended hours data on, and I'm going to look side by side at the VWAP cone for Tesla and for Goog. I'm going to get rid of the rest of them. So I might as well just show you what that'll look like. I'll just get rid of everything here except for two of them. Boom, boom, and boom. And see you later, Zuck. Okay, there we go. And let's just move this one now onto this side of the screen. Perfect. Right. And then I'm going to right click. I'm not going to turn the extended hours data on now, but I'm going to do it in the after hours. Okay. In the after hours. So how you do that? Very simply, go to global chart settings, go over to where it says extended hours data, turn it on. Okay. And make sure you groom the chart, right? I'm going to pull the chart back to expose the beginning of the month. Otherwise, the VWAP cone lines are not calculated correctly. So once you've turned the extended hours data on, you got to do that again, Michael K. All right, you got to do that again. And what I'm also going to do, so I'll just demonstrate it right now. What these are just bell curves tilted 90 degrees on their left-hand side. There's nothing really too complex about it. The center of the bell curve is the volume weighted average price during cash hours for the view I'm looking at now. And you'll see these little plus buttons at the top left-hand side of each chart. I open that up, and I've also got the daily VWAP cones here, right? So I'll unearth those, and I'll be using VWAP cone strategy with my technical signals on a multi-time frame basis on the NQ to trade the NQ. So I'm going to have a multi-time frame dashboard with the NQ on it. Hey, it looks like we're coming down. Looks like we're coming down. We're sitting at a 190 right now on the NQ, by the way, for those who are so inclined to trade it. Just want to figure out 46. Bear with me for a second, folks. I'm looking at the short below 170, right? I already made that comment to you. So I'm gonna be waiting for that. We just hit 174, 173, 172, I think it was, and bounced right back up, which makes sense because shortly after the open, we plateaued in that area between 165, 185. So anyways, I'm going to be looking at this. I'm going to have the daily VWAP cone superimposed. I'm going to have the extended hours data on and look at the native positioning of where price is, right? We were more than we were about 1.5 standard deviations below VWAP for Tesla, i.e. we were here, right? 1 standard deviation below VWAP is the thick line green line. The thin dark green line is 1.5. That's 2, 2.5, 3, right? And we've come back up. We're no longer in the zone on the month-to-date cone that would be considered the downtrend zone. I'm looking for mean reversion, right? and might as well just give you the quick synopsis here. I think it's either $400, $399 and change that we're going to see on Tesla, not necessarily much higher, or we could see the drop off the cliff moment and down to 350. It is more likely that we see the up happen. Okay, and this reinforces that, the fact that we've gotten out of the downtrend zone. And by the way, for folks who are on wealth charts, which I know most of you are, you can pull this template up yourself, right? You can go over to the hamburger menu. You can go over to where it says layouts, go to premium, just scroll down and find a layout called Ziad's Day and Swing. Think about the layout as a house. Rooms in the house are the dashboards up top over here, and then the furniture in the room is the charts. So find the dashboard that's titled VWAP month to date Mag 7, and you've seen how I just did it. I just eliminated the other charts, and boom, there it is. So what about Alphabet? I'm looking for Alphabet to come up to VWAP and actually extend above VWAP because its slingshot got pulled back further. It did shoot, and it seemingly fired and hit resistance, but at this stage we have not pulled all the way back. This is still a bullish pattern. I'm still looking for 358 to potentially 368 for Goog L. If we're falling off a cliff, warning line is at 343. Warning line for Tesla is where we're sitting right now, right? It's the one standard deviation line. Call it 375. But there's my thoughts in a nutshell. If you need me to repeat that later, I'm happy to do that. But that's what I'm going to be looking at after hours. I'm going to be looking at those charts, and I'm going to be looking at a multi-time frame dashboard where I'll just have all the time frames stacked side by side, really with the focus being the 1 hour, the 5 minute, and the 1 minute on the NQ. So great question. There's my answer. Chris. Okay, so Chris H., you're asking a question. You mentioned it a little earlier. I know around 10:30ish. It's his oscillator X. It's part of his ITP toolkit. Okay, it's part of his ITP toolkit. It's the oscillator that's part of the ITP toolkit. That's the answer to that question. And Christian, the timer, yeah, it's very easy to find the timer. I know I'm a little delayed in answering some of these questions, but it's right over here. Right, so you go over to the little config menu, top right, where you see the little up and down buttons, and then you can toggle on position timer. And let's see if I can get any more questions answered here. Gus, it is valid to look at both daily and weekly. I have the daily and weekly superimposed on my Day Trade 2 template, right? It's in the top third. It's where the, so absolutely. I use both. Okay, I'm just going to jump down to the bottom of the chat now, folks. If there are questions that I missed, I apologize. Sometimes I do, Sandra. So that's something you can write into the office about. And Alex D, you're asking about how to switch from light mode, dark mode. Very easy. Turn this bumper on the left. Bottom left-hand side of the screen. See right there? There's your button. Switch to light mode. I'm not going to do it, but that would be what you'd use right there. And let's see where we're at. And Manny, you're asking which code do you want for the layout that I'm using right here, right now? You let me know if that's the one that you want, because I've got lots of okay, no problem. That's easy to do. Because I'm still not willing to trade this, right? Either we're below 170, 165, or we're above 260. Everything in between, it's just low quality trades. So I'm out with profit on the day. So let me export this layout for Manny here. And I'm just going to put it in the chat. NQ dark mode, and it's got the triple S indicator and champion trend pack toolkit on it. Okay, so that's in your chat now. In your chat right now, for those who want it, you can simply copy the code directly out of the chat and go through the same process, but import it instead of exporting, obviously. Okay. And yeah, if you, so this one has the triple S indicator on it, right? So if you don't own the triple S, it's not going to work. So you can own it, you can call, write in and own it if you want. But if you want it without the triple S, I have that for you as well. So hold on. I did that yesterday, I think. So I saved it in one of my text documents somewhere. Yep, I did. Did I do it? Yeah, I have it. So I'll put that in the chat right now. I don't know if it's in dark mode. You'll have to just toggle on dark mode, but I'll put that in there right now. Okay. All right. So so you've got both. Okay. So there's no barrier to trying to use the layout and follow along. Okay. So where we're at right now is not in a spot where I'm enthused about getting long. I'm not enthused about getting short, but I am seeing something happen that is interesting. Some pre-trade conditioning type patterns are appearing now, where we're getting, sell, buy, sell, which ends up being a high probability pattern. I don't have a bias to the downside. I just have a realistic expectation that we are a little too expensive at this stage, more likely to pull back. Let me just go see if I've got other questions that I have not tended to, so bear with me for a moment. Okay, I think I'm pretty caught up in the chat. Well, thank you so much, Ray. I appreciate that. And Rajan, if I had a bullish overnight hold, I don't even want to venture down that path, because earnings are, I've given you my bias for likely the market pushes up, holds up into earnings. Earnings take us through thresholds, but then we start coming back down. I think the market will hold up for Intel. But I don't know that I'm going to be right on Tesla and Goog's impact on the NASDAQ. So if you put the proverbial banana to my head and said you have to make a choice for a long side trade overnight, proof's in the pudding on silver. Silver is positively correlated with the NASDAQ. I'm expecting the NASDAQ to go up. It would probably be silver, but a lot of that rocket fuel's already gone, right? Okay, so now a tradable moment may be emerging. May, not has. We're coming close to the end of the hour. The market is net long. Okay, it's flattened out in its position from being very skewed to long to more neutral, and volume is going to get lopped off at 10:59 a.m. Strategies in North America will tick off the tape, and of course, Eurozone closes will tick off take volume out of the mix as well. So if we're in that situation, okay, which I've just characterized for you, at a very high level, very quick and dirty, the market is net long from effectively right before cash hours open to now. It's not as skewed to net long because we flattened out for so long from 10 a.m. onwards pretty much, but we're still slightly net long. If we do not see prices rising over the next minute or two, if we do not see prices rising, what's likely going to happen to the remaining long positions that are in force that have to come off the tape at 11? They're going to sell down. So there can be a unravel. It's not going to be dramatic because we're not as skewed in positioning anymore. We're not going to unravel with drama and trauma. But look, if we're not rising over the next minute or two, the educated bet would be downside risk is going to play out. And if I want to short it, I have to have a plan and I have to be ready to go. What's my plan? I'm going to short it below 29,170, 165, somewhere in that area, effectively below the local lows here. If we're seeing buying beget buying, and we're able to rise into the end of the hour, the earliest I could consider a long is 2:30. And I'm limited probably to 260. So I've got the trade specced out on either side. And I'm just going to put a qualifier on right now. I don't like either of them right now. Right? I'm not seeing violent action to the downside. I'm not seeing aggressive action to the upside. And we've been in a technically damaged situation on the 1 minute chart for about a handful of minutes now. And we're going sideways. This is not tradable. You can find a way to trade it. And I'm sure lots of folks are going to find great success in trying to do so as well. But that's not going to be me. So at this stage, it's trying to grind back up. What I'm going to do is just do a temperature check of the room, because I'm going to bring my trading activities. I'm still going to look for trades after 11, but I'm going to bring my trading activities to a close into the end of the hour. Profit positive, not a big number. I think it's still around 202 to 300 bucks, 260 bucks. Trading micros, all right, and more successful trades than unsuccessful trades. I don't know what the win rate was, but I think it was fairly high. I think I had maybe 1 or 2 losers and 5, 6, 7 winners, somewhere around there. So I think overall it worked out fairly well. And Drama OP, the layout code that I put in the chat is an import code for wealth charts. So you can use that code in the import area for the layouts, which I'm not going to go to right now because I'm going to focus on whether or not I can take a short. But it's in the hamburger menu, in the layout drop-down menu, right? Well, Killer Learner, I'm happy you did. Hang tight. I'm working with the FFF team, the Wealth Charts team, to get a special code that I'll be able to drop every so often that will be quite lucrative for FFF accounts. Okay, so hang tight on that. And yes, there'll probably be giveaways associated with that when I do that. So I'm waiting on that myself. Okay, so be patient with me. But of course, along the ride, I'm going to try to trade well in front of you here and share my knowledge with you. So learn and earn, right? Both sides. It's the learning that ends up usually making the earnings. But I'm happy to hear. I'm happy that you've learned something, and I like your handle, Killer Learner. That's awesome. Okay, so now let's go. I like that futures flow special code, 100% off. 200% off. That was last week, right? It was a BOGO last week during the summit for FFF accounts. The Velocity 25K account was effectively $8 last week. It's never been done before. Incredible deal. Well, we got a whole bunch of new folks in the mix, right, George? So, Rob's made a huge foray to develop the platform to help with prop and real money trading, especially with Omni prop and everything else associated with that, the laser fast execution. So we got lots of new folks in, and in the prop world, lots of folks look for deals. So you'll hear me address it. My core focus is not going to change, though. The way I operate is I'm here to provide as crystal clear insight as possible, lay out the trades as clearly as I can, and then execute. And then along the ride, of course, there's going to be lots of questions on what tools are you using? What are the lenses you're looking through? Can we run up into the end of the hour here? I really don't want to take this trade, but I said, hey, I could consider a trade from 230 to 260. We've got 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes left before the close. It's a very high risk trade. I'm taking it on. If I don't see effectiveness fairly quickly, I'll get out of the way. I do have the backing of a buy signal stayed on a 5-minute chart, partial backing on the 1-hour chart as well. I've only got about a 45-second window before I'm going to have to get out of the way anyways. And I don't like this. I want to see if we can pop. Oh, what? Thanks. I'll take that cup of coffee. Another successful trade. 30 seconds. But there it is. And Jim, I don't have an answer to that question, Jim K. Gus, did you get that one? Amazing. And Babir, it's amazing. So you had just a little bit more to do this, and you got it done. That's amazing to get your account qualified. I'm really happy to hear that. Oh, and Sandra, I'm sorry to hear that. You know, I know we had to use a code, the Wealth Charts code itself last week, and select that. I don't know if you wrote into them if they can do anything about it. I'm not sure. It's not my department. I know that, David C, and that's something that's in the works for something bigger and better. So I'm waiting for that myself as well. Jesse, you cut 10 points on that. Amazing, amazing. Oh, they won't, Sandra. Oh, hey, I'll have a code soon, and perhaps that will be nice and satisfying as well. So, folks, as Rob says, we came, we saw, we conquered. I'm still going to be here for this next half hour, but I want to do a roundup. You let me know. Did you get some learning? Did you get some earning? Give me some lucky number 7s in the chat and let me know. If it did not work out for you, constructive criticism, and standard, fair, constructive criticism is a good thing. It's only going to make me better to make it better for you. So you feel free to throw in how you feel about this market morning. I walked in with a plan. It's the plan that I developed at the beginning of the week. Market's going to hold up, push up. I drew out the plan, physically drew it out, presented it to you multiple times. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. We got into a really good setup for longs, shared that with you right out of the gates, and looked for consistent action, on resumptions for entries. Also found opportunities for shorts. And where we are, right, many questions, right? We busted up above the resistive area. So that last trade that I took as we were coming close to the end of the hour, I didn't keep it because we're converting hours. We did, and we got the 29.230 to 260 has happened. Now comes another opportunity, potentially, right? Potentially, if we end up seeing, I'm still going to wait for 280, but above 280, I'm not going to really question it. There's another long available. And for ES traders, it would be above 75, 46, 45 to 46. I'm just looking at the 5-minute chart to see if that resumption is valid. Fast speed line is above the slow. We still are in very expensive, dangerous territory. And I'm not expecting a bunch, right? I came in and I said, look, hey, if you're going to be trading today, dry powder better served for the back end of the day and after hours if you have experience trading in the after hours through earnings that are very volatile, which is not a place that one wants to cut their teeth on, right? Treat it as financial theater, trade a demo account, learn that kind of environment before, diving into it. But, it's exciting for me. I'm going to be doing that after hours today. And I also said, hey, there's probably going to be 2 moves this market morning. Were there 2 moves? Up and sideways. Yeah. There were 2 moves. Up and sideways. Those are your 2 moves. So sideways, you can't get too much out of it. Now, we're starting a resumption pattern on the 5-minute chart. We're in a very expensive state with the triple S indicator on the 5-minute time frame. The 1-hour chart is in a buy signal state from the triple S indicator and the champion cross indicator. But the champion trend indicator is on a sell. And we have not busted through that ceiling of resistance, which is which are highs effectively on the day. We perforated it. We've opened it up, right? Look at the champion trend indicator. I'm just going to highlight that. See that red line after the sell zone plaque at the hard right edge of the chart? That's still our barrier of resistance. Now, the champion cross indicator, which is the second part of the 5 tools in the champion trend pack, has gone green. It's small. You can barely see the zone. It's right there. But the dots are there at the bottom of the main chart. That's there. Okay, so that's there. Champion cross is there. Triple S is there. It's on the second last closed 1 hour bar. And I've got the double green dots underneath the current and the last closed 1 hour bars. And we're above the top of the channel. Yep. And we're right above the speed line. All is looking great. But think about this as we're walking up the stairs to get onto the rooftop, because there's a rooftop garden party going on. And we're knocking on the door. No one's let us in yet. So I'm willing to trade alongside if the door opens. And the door is not opened as of yet. So where is that door? Roughly 280, 277. And we're getting closer and closer to it right now. So I'm getting closer and closer to wanting to take another long side trade, but I know how expensive we are. So I want to be very cautious with my entry. Right? One of the things that we can do over here, which you don't see me do very frequently because I'm usually just very discretionary directional trader. You see me use market orders to get in and get out all the time. If you want to, put a stop on, it's not hard. We can just, have a simple stop loss put in there, and something in the order of 10 points would make sense. 10 to, let's just do it with 40 ticks for now. And I can have it trailing, or just have a standard stop in there. So if I want to take on a long now, Wealth Charts is going to put a stop in for me. You just saw me do it. Bottom right-hand side of the screen, 3 button clicks, 2 characters typed in. That's it. And there we are. So now let me just make sure I've got everything good to go on my side here, and I'm happy. And I've missed my entry, obviously, while I was futzing around with the stop loss. But I've taken on the trade, right? Trailing stops in. I'm long. Trade somewhat profit positive to start, but there you go, right? So now, what's the piece of the move that we're trying to take? What's the distance to the next resistive structure? Well, we just busted above. Oh, again, perforated above. It's not fully broken. It's tentative, but we do have a champion trend buy zone plaque on the 1 hour chart showing up. So the champion trend indicator has gone green, right? The champion trend indicator has gone green. It's intra-bar, so it's not a confirmed signal, okay, but it's here. And George, I'm happy to hear that. Gerardo, I'm happy to hear that. Fuad, amazing. Right? We sketched out the trade in advance and it materialized. So here it is. There's no guarantees or warranties that it'll continue working, but the 1 hour charts, triple S lines trying to get into the 4th quadrant. It's tentatively there. So that's a good thing. 5-minute chart is in a buy sequence. Good thing. Okay. That's a good thing. But it's very expensive based on where the triple S indicator is located. Okay. Very expensive. And then when I look at the 1-minute chart, right, the 1-minute chart at this moment in time is in a buy sequence, technically in stage 3 of the CTP buy sequence, right? So it's all there. And we've got some room to run, but look at the absolute values of where the triple S line is, the generals, the king and the queen. We're in the mid 50s. This is not cheap. This is expensive. So along the ride up, locking in profit along the ride up is not a bad thing to do. I'm just doing it again right now. Okay. Locking in profit on the ride up is not a bad thing to do. It makes more sense to me. Of course, follow the rules along the ride. But looks like how many folks caught that? So I see about half a dozen to almost 8, 9, 10 people have already written in that they caught and or are in the trade. If you haven't shared it with me already, feel free to share. Wow, holy, okay, it's just going and going and going. Amazing. Okay, I think we're up. I'm just seeing everyone say they're in it, on it, or done it, which is great. And don't be, we shouldn't be scared to stay longer. It should just be all about, are we still riding the speed lines? Is the risk, is the reward that we're going after, still worthy of the risk that we're taking? And I think the answer is still a yes. Right. I want to get back into it, but I'm not going to push it at this stage. You've seen me trade very successfully in terms of the number of trades taken and the number of wins taken. If someone's kept an account of that, feel free to let me know in the chat. I know someone did an image up earlier that was pretty cool, and that was pretty good. And whoa, look at that, to the moon, King. Well done, well done, amazing, amazing. Folks seemingly are doing well. Now, not everyone is going to be doing well. That's the nature of a market, right? That's the nature of the market. And it's very easy to get pessimistic. It is, if you allow it, markets can become soul destroying to you. And it's a choice, right? Either you're putting a plan to work and it's work and you're working the plan, or you're hoping for something. And the latter doesn't work. I've been doing this for a while now, engaging with students specifically since 2011. And it's very infrequent that I see hope as a plan that works. Some people get lucky, sure. But that's not what we're here to do, right? It's exactly, skill building takes time. Exactly, Fuad. It just takes time. And Howard J, amazing, great result. And it makes sense. When you're up that big, time to take a break. I agree. And it's not standard fare that a retrace happens before London close. It's not standard fare. Each day is a snowflake, if you will. And Tom A, I agree. Hopium is a drug that leaves bad habits. Agreed, agreed, agreed. And patience is hard. Now, who's in the trade still? I know there's a bunch that are still in it. If you're still riding it right now, I want to make sure that I provide you the insight. We're getting very close to the primary market's resistive structure, 75.55. Okay, the ES is almost there. The NQ, I forgot to qualify for you where we're headed up to. We have to go over to the 4-hour time frame and look at where resistance is, because we don't have any resistance on the 1-hour chart. We just busted through it. 330 is the number. 330 is the number. 330 is the number. Moon, the answer to that is it started in 2008 with disaster trying to be a trader. Changing careers from being a director in consumer packaged goods companies. And, tragedy hit, had to make a choice, had a little money, promptly lost half of it. And then the markets were kind to me. And this is my eternal way of paying it forward until I'm done working, which I don't know. I'm probably going to work. I might not work as frequent, but I'm still in this game each day because such wonderful people around me, and I trade better. I make better decisions. I reinforce my my skill set when I'm here each day. And I've been doing this kind of thing since about 2013, 14, like live broadcasting. But there it is. There's your answer. Well, hey, appreciate you being here. So just to be very clear, this trade is still alive, okay? It's coming into a resistive structure that is not likely going to break. 29,330, just rounded up to 330. It's coming from the 4-hour charts, MSR channel top. Just want to see if there's anything in the way in between that on the daily chart. No, the daily charts MSR channel center is higher than that. It's sitting at, doesn't even matter. No need to pollute our minds with more numbers, but it's well above. All I'll say is, look, if we bust 330, 485, 500 is the next area it's likely to head up to. All right. The hourly chart, we've seen it breach and now tentatively break the champion trend sell zone. It's been replaced with a buy zone. Triple S is in a buy. Okay. The champion trend pack is in a buy, tentatively in stage 1 of the sequence on a 1-hour chart, which tends to forecast out the next 3 to 6 hours. Are we going to see a much more robust move higher before, end of day timing? I doubt it. Look, if we get up to 330 while we're together until about 11:30 a.m. Eastern time, I would probably want to call that a done, and then come back in the last hour of trade. In the last hour of trade, there should be some positioning. Sometimes that drama is left to the last 5-10 minutes, and then the earnings plays come out directly after. Mike R said 4 p.m. and 4:05, right? So it's going to happen very shortly after the close. So now I'm not endorsing to trade the after hours. Okay, I'm just letting you know what I'm doing. It's a very risky endeavor, right? For folks, many folks that even experienced that trade it are going to be looking at it as a lottery ticket. And we know what the odds on lottery tickets are, right? So as far as I'm concerned, I'm saving some dry powder for that because I actually enjoy trading those types of moments. But you have to have your risk measures in place. You have to have if you're trading real money, redundancies make a big difference, right? Redundancies in your equipment, direct phone call to your broker, that kind of thing has to be available. Goodness forbid if power goes out or connection goes down, you have to have a backup, all that kind of stuff. If you're doing that kind of thing. So Jeff, there are instances where I open up time where I'm doing that type of trading, and I'll be in a Zoom room with folks. I'm not going to do that today. And Scott H, thank you for that, sir. Trump is speaking at 3 p.m. right in time to kick off the ramp up into Tesla and Goog's earnings, right? So there you go. And the question that came in a little earlier here, I just want to see if I can answer that. What time can we? And this came in from Bill. What time can we trade prop firm accounts? When the market's open. So there's no time. And Joel, if you're still here, thank you. I appreciate that nice comment. Exactly, John G. I can't. I don't think he wants to do this though. You've heard the story, right? I caught him staying up late one night in bed, blanket over. And typical teenager, you know what I thought he was doing, but he wasn't. He was actually on his phone with a notepad on the side, learning a second-year level university calculus, which he's already done now. He's done. He's finished. He's in level 3 now. He's used functions to calculate things like how many steps is my best friend going to take in his life based on his lifestyle. So he's actually and what he wants to do with his life. Here's how many steps you're likely going to take versus someone in a different vocation or different lifestyle, different geography. It's crazy what you can do with math, of course, and I actually have it come into something that's reasonable. And there was a test. I was like, really? And it was like, here, Dad, here's the stats. I'm like, whoa, very, very cool. Okay, well, I'm winding down. I don't want to lose focus over here. I want to make sure that I answer your questions for the remainder of the session. I'm open to taking questions into the end of the hour, doing analytics on individual symbols, whatever it may be. And Cleve, you asked, how did you get with wealth charts? Met Rob, and we just hit it off. This is many years ago. You know, I think maybe 7, 8 years ago now. And Bart, I agree. Paying it forward is exactly the right thing. All right. It's the energy comes back in so many different ways. It might not come back in this way for me, but it comes back with my kid's doing calculus. Amazing. He's 14. Okay, so I'm just looking through the chat right now. So real money versus the testing structure from a prop account, Gus, right? That's it. And you can get to the point where you're trading live with a prop account where they've moved you into that territory where you're actually trading physical money. Both are well, George. Both are well. Yeah, it's about 7, 8 years, right? 7, 8 years. Both are well. All right, folks. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else that I can add in here, but I'm hopeful. Well, and I'm glad to hear that, Kim. That's great, right? I want to keep it as digestible as possible. So we came, we saw, we got some great ideas for where things are likely going to go. We got to the right spot. We got trades in the right direction. We even saw some high risk moments. We got them. And Rob O, speed lines, very easy to put them on your screen like any other indicator, right? You can just right click on the blank space on your chart. Just go to add indicators. Okay. And you can just type in literally speed and it will pop up. Click them on, right? Very, very straightforward. It's super easy with wealth charts, right? It's made by traders, the whole platform. So it's very intuitive at the end of the day, but it's still a platform and you still have to look through things. Yvonne, it's my pleasure. My pleasure, absolutely. Well, that's great, Manny. I'm happy to hear that. Rajan, on wealth charts, that's what I'm doing in front of folks, primarily, yes. Well, and for me too, Rodney. For me too. He does. And we're apparently we're actually going to go to the gym together today. So I'm actually looking forward to that, which is going to be good. And Manny, I'm sure there'll be an opportunity for that. And Kent, that's a good question. I don't have an answer for you on that. Right? I don't know the inner workings of all shops, but the ones that Wealth Charts associates with are obviously going to be credible. Oh, cool. I'm in North York. Okay, folks, let's see if there's any other questions as we're winding down. Andy, you're saying, what is the zone change alert on the 1 hour mean? Okay, so that's a good question. So we're moving from, so you can have your alerts toggled on. They'll flash up on here, right? If you like having those alerts pop up on screen, great. When you get a little bit more experience with the tools, I would actually suggest turning them off. Right? You can right click on the screen. You can go to global chart settings. And there should be something in here to turn alerts on or off. It might be by indicator. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know where it is. Maybe you can ask folks in the live support room about that. But bottom line is we've switched from a sell zone champion trend to a buy zone, but the bar is still live. So keep in mind, if the bar is still running through its lifespan and the signal is there, that's all good and fine, but it's a tentative signal. It's not an official. It's not an official signal. It's tentative, right? A signal is a signal on the last closed bar. Intrabar, it's a tentative signal. So what does this do for me? It supports long side trades as long as my 5-minute chart is aligned on the long side as well, which it was in advance of the hour, right? It's been in a buy sequence. And then I'm looking for the next, moment, right? What did we see happen over here? We saw the market get up to 330. Okay, that's amazing. What did we say was resistance? When we looked at the 4-hour chart, we said it was 330, right? We got up there, and what you heard me say in advance is probably not a lot more after that. But if we pop up after that, there is room potentially to the 425 to 485 area. So what you saw was just a change in signal state on the hourly chart. Okay. And there you go. Jaden, good question. I don't think I'd want to short this, because what the market had happened to it already, which you can evidence on the a 1-hour chart, is we did pull back after making highs this midday yesterday or early afternoon yesterday. We did pull back already. We're retracing that, and we're in a week where we're probably going to see the market hold up, if not push up, into the release of earnings. So the job's been done to get us back to the waterline, right? We're at the start line, if you will, for the release of earnings. The S&P E-minis are at 75.56 right now. They're coming up to that waterline and breaching that waterline, which you heard me say is likely going to happen. You heard that in advance, right? So I don't know if I'd short this, to be very, very honest, right? Yeah, it's a great area, Scott. I am. And yes, it's a great area. Very cosmopolitan, certainly. So remember this. Let's just pull it up to the ES and NQ here. We had this conversation with the flight paths and all that jazz. Maybe I've one already gussied up probably here. Yeah, this is good enough. You kept hearing me say nested VPOCs, all that kind of stuff, and that we'd try to come up there on Monday. We'd pull back. The pullback was obviously deeper. We'd push up again, and we try to punch through that area. That's exactly the forecasted outcome that I had when I was doing my work late Sunday night this week. Usually I do it a little earlier than that, but that's the idea. Push up to it, pull back. I wasn't expecting as deep a pullback as we got. We pulled all the way back down to the bottom and then punched up at it again, and then punched up at it again, right? We had this little punch up again. Now, this part of the move it's a forecast. It's not reality. We're at that level right now where we're actually breaching and grinding above it at this moment in time. And the door opens for, more while we're above 75, 55. 55, the next level is actually at 65. It's a DeMarc resistance 1 weekly pivot level. If we're going to break 65, we are probably going to, stall out, full stop at, just around the 75, 70 area. It's an inflection zone in the volume profile histogram, which usually takes 3 attempts to punch through, or a major event. And it happens to be the drop zone candle top from Friday. So I don't think that there's a whole bunch more, but you've got my thoughts on where it can potentially go, where that firm ceiling is likely going to hold now that we are punching through the 75.55 line. How did the 75.55 line materialize? And how did we get up there? The NASDAQ, you heard me say at the beginning of the week, has to bring us up, right? The NASDAQ has to bring us up. And it did, right? We started off the day above the mattress. We got back above the center of this downward sloping channel. And we're trying to make a move into the concrete ceiling that the NASDAQ is probably going to face resistance at. It's doubtful that we're going to punch too much through it. But again, earnings are earnings. Let's see how this materializes in the after hours. Folks, that's talking straight for, 2.5 hours now? So I think it's time for me to call it quits here, take a little breather. I'll be back on Wealth Charts at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. You can access me there by going to the hamburger menu, going to Education, and go to Wealth Chart Events. And you can join me there at noon today. I hope that you had a great experience this market morning. And I hope that each day that we're together, thank you, Beth, for being here. Thanks, Donna. Thanks to everyone writing in. Thanks, Takeo. Thanks to everyone writing in. Everyone's writing in now. So thank you. Thanks, Gordon. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed the market morning here. I hope that the format is engaging and useful, and I look forward to sharing more with you at noon directly on Wealth Charts, and then of course tomorrow we'll be back at it again. Wish you all the best. If I'm not going to see you for the rest of the day in the after hours, be very careful. Right? If this is not something that you're used to trading, it's not a great place to cut your teeth on. Be very careful. But we came, we conquered, triple digit gain on the day, with methodical trades. And who's keeping track of the wins? I don't know. We had about probably 10 trades. I think about 7 or 8 were winners. And hey, can't beat that. Well, I guess you can beat that, but we'll try to beat it another day. Have a great rest of your day, folks. And thanks for being here. Much appreciated.